Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Mona Highline and you're having coffee with Mona in our coffee chat segments. And today I'm so excited that I get to talk with my friend Tamy. And Tamy has a very unusual story, and we're excited to share that with you guys. So thank you for tuning in, and let's get started, everybody. This is Tamy McClendon.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, I think we're looking over here.
Over here now.
And once again, we're matching. It was not planned. I actually had to be at court this morning, and I walked in and I'm like, this is happening again. This is so funny. So yeah, we're both in olive green today, and that was not a plan. It just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah. So Tamy, when did you first come to Joseph Center?
In 2021.
Wow. So 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you came as a volunteer.
Yes.
And you did that for how long?
2 years.
That's what I thought, 2 years. And you worked the front desk, and I just saw so many changes in you. When you first came, you were in a mobilized wheelchair.
Yeah. And I was in a very bad place when I came in.
Yeah. What was going on?
I had lost my husband, lost my mom, lost both my kids, and so it seemed like I was giving up. And Robert actually had me come into the Joseph Center. He said, just come in and hang out. I said, fine, just so you'll get off my back. And I came in and he hands me a volunteer application. He says, now fill this out. So I filled it out, and Shauna accepted me, and I was day shelter assistant for 2 years.
Yeah, you were. You have your plaque still.
Yep.
From your desk up there.
Yes.
And that's pretty impressive. And then things changed a little bit for you.
Yeah.
And something, you want to touch on that a little bit?
I left with a person, and we were supposed to stay in Oklahoma, and then he said, well, let's go to Florida. So we go to Florida, got my truck repoed in Pooler, Georgia. And so we were homeless. He wouldn't get a job.
So you went from literally assisting homeless individuals and families to becoming one.
Yes. And it was not a very good experience. I was beat down emotionally and a couple of times physically. He actually talked me into doing drugs, but not a one of the drugs affected me at all.
That's crazy.
It was...
I'm already crying, but go ahead.
Everybody else was getting high, but it was like I was just smoking a cigarette.
Didn't bother you one bit?
Didn't get me high, didn't...
So how long was that time period of you being homeless and...
About 2 months.
Okay.
I mean, not very long, but...
Long enough.
Long enough.
Yeah.
I was sleeping on the boardwalk in Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Wow.
And we were sleeping on the beach, sleeping outside of homeless shelters. And none of the homeless shelters would take me because of my little dog. And then things happened, and I ended up sleeping on the side of I-95 North, 40 miles south of Savannah, Georgia, because we got into a heated argument, and I got out of the Jeep in the middle of the night, started walking, and I fell on the side of the highway, so I just rolled out my sleeping bag and went to sleep with my dog. Then a cop woke me up the next morning, took me to the next exit, drops me off at a gas station, says, "Here you go." And I'm like, what am I supposed to do here?
Right.
That's not my problem. My problem was to get you off the highway. That's what he told me.
So you, like, really have experienced both sides of the coin, right? I
Yes.
mean, like, and especially the trauma of losing your mom, your husband, your two sons, all pretty much at the same time. And I know you're still going through some loss even now,
Yeah.
currently. But I want to talk about the transition. Where did you go? You went back to Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
By the way, we're both from Oklahoma, so we don't say that lightly.
Sooners
All the way.
all the way. But I went back to my brother's, and things just weren't going the greatest. My mother-in-law had to have brain surgery, had to have a tumor removed. So I came out here. Well, on my way out here, I found out I wasn't welcome back. So I just stayed out here. And then my dad got sick, and I went to try and go see my dad. And had tires blow out, and got in a fight with my brother, and so I just turned around and came right back. And been here for about 2 months, 3 months.
But a lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Good things.
Yes.
Right?
Because I was sleeping in my car, and then you was letting me park up against the building so I could use Wi-Fi to do my homework. And
Because now during all of this, you enrolled in school.
yes, I enrolled in school and started in March. And my first 8 weeks, I was on the honor roll because my grade point average was above a 3.5. And
Okay, I'm just going to interject right there, because going through, homelessness, rejection, everything, all the emotions, the trauma, and you maintained over a 3.5, GPA in school to become an accountant, correct?
yes.
Okay. That's just wild to me. Keep going.
And then I got accepted into the Golden Girls. And so I was there.
How did that make you feel, though? You used to, being the day shelter assistant, to actually becoming one of our guests.
It was hard. And at first there was a couple of them thought that maybe I was a spy for you, and it's like, come on. And then, no, I said, I'm not entitled, I'm not a spy, I'm in here as a Golden Girl, nothing else.
But you worked that program. You weren't a Golden Girl for a month?
A month. And then I got accepted into the Mother Teresa place.
Shout out to the Mother Teresa place, which is permanent supportive housing with Catholic outreach, and these apartments are phenomenal.
Yes.
And when I walked in here, this was my first time in here. It's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you have a gym, you have a laundry room, you have a gathering place for events, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, how did you feel?
At first, I thought, do I deserve this? What if somebody else that deserves it more than I do? And even Robert told me, he goes, Tammy, he says, you deserve this.
You do.
He said, with everything that you've done and been through, he said, nobody deserves it more than you. And it just made my heart just, I'm not gonna cry, but just.
I'm gonna cry because I have seen you transition from a woman in a mobilized wheelchair to being very shy, and then the next thing I know, there's no more wheelchair, and you're rocking it and bringing me my mail, and doing all the things that you did, and then we all make bad choices, right? And but I guess I'm grateful that yours didn't last.
Me too.
And it was like a 2-month experience that now I think, do you think that helps you relate to people more?
I do.
Better?
I do.
Okay. How are you handling your trauma?
Actually, all I do is focus on my schoolwork, and I try not to think about it. And I'll have days to where I just, it's like, why me? Why do I have to lose everybody? And I just think it's not fair sometimes.
Sure.
But at least I know they're all up there together now.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm glad my boys are in a better place. I'd much rather have them here, but I'm glad that they're with God, because they deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before I started at the Joseph Center, my faith was gone. I had no faith in God. I detested him. I hated him. And coming to the Joseph Center brought me really close to God. And I couldn't thank you guys enough, because if it wasn't for you guys getting me closer to God, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Wow. Wow.
And
so your faith is what's keeping you strong.
Yeah.
And keeping you going. And how's school going?
It's going good. Right now I'm sitting with a B and a B plus.
Okay.
And they still have a couple of assignments to grade, so
it could go up.
It could go up.
So now you have your own place.
Yes.
And you love it.
Yes, I do.
Now, we were talking earlier, and I'm going to have to help this woman decorate. There's some things here, but this is absolutely amazing, having your own space, your own everything, because this time now is about you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty
cool. I had decided that I can't keep focusing on my loss, that it's time to move on. And so my goal is to finish school, which I'm supposed to graduate November 26th.
That's a party.
And I'm actually going to go to New Hampshire and do the cap and gown.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that is impressive. You give me some ideas. I've never been to New Hampshire, so
me neither.
I just want to say how proud I am of you, and watching you, your resilience, and watching you go through all these different loops and changes. But here we are, and she makes really good coffee. So that's all I'm saying. And I needed it this morning. It's been a long
morning.
Yeah, long morning.
But
very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And before I started school, I was getting really, really depressed.
Sure.
And my dad told me, he says, read your Bible. And it's like, man, I said, I don't like to read. He said, start in Matthew and read. So I started in Matthew, read all the way through to Revelation.
Wow.
Then he told me to start in Joshua. So I started in Joshua and read all the way through. Then I started in Genesis, and now I'm in 2 Kings. So, but I haven't read much lately because of my schooling.
Yeah.
But my faith is better now.
Yeah. You're healing.
I am healed.
And there's a lot there. So, you know, a good friend told me one day, he says, Mona, just always remember to trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcomes, you know, my husband always says, we want the mall experience, but we have a 7-Eleven attitude, right? And so we want it to come right now.
Yeah.
But I've learned by pacing myself and trusting the process, you know, it's less stressful,
Mm-hmm.
right? And mentally, I think I'm healthier mentally, and I don't have so many breakdowns. I'm learning that as well. I'm sitting here trying to think of even more questions for you, and you told your whole story. How's that feel to get your story out?
It actually feels pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I think a lot of people can relate to the people that we're trying to reach out to, right?
Right.
Can relate to, if not all, but some of your story, and you're giving them hope.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope that what I've been through, that people can realize that their life is not over. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And don't give up.
Yeah, that's it right there. Never give up.
And when I was in Oklahoma, my niece Raylene kept me focused. And she...
Thank you, Raylene. Thank you.
But she kept me going.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I talked to Robert all the time. And
I got a phone call from you once or
Yeah?
twice.
Yeah.
And we talked it out, and you allowed me to coach you through that moment. And I thought, you know, I'm very grateful that you would even reach out, you know. And I know you said when you came back you were scared, you know, you thought I was going to get you.
Yeah.
And that's not how we do things, right? You know, everyone, deserves a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance to some degree, right?
Yeah.
When it's not being abused. You didn't do that.
No.
You came in, you were like, look, I messed up, and this is where I'm at. And we were able to pick up from that place. And now here you sit in school, in your own place, looking great. You're healing.
Yes.
And, you know, does it get better?
It'll get better.
Yeah, well, right? There's more.
There is more.
This is not the pinnacle.
No.
There is more.
Well, I have a 5-year goal.
Okay.
My goal is to start a nonprofit suicide awareness in memory of my boys. And I want to build a tiny home community for homeless vets, because I don't think veterans should be living on the streets.
I agree. I agree.
So that is my 5-year goal.
Yeah. As you're
Besides
working as an accountant.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that though. And I love that you have a 5-year goal now. And a year ago you wouldn't have said you had a 5-year goal.
No, I was given up. I didn't care. I sat in the room and just sat there. Didn't do nothing. And at first I had my dog with me, and then I ended up having to put her down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to put her down because she was epileptic.
Okay.
And she was having 8 to 12 seizures a day on medication. And
that had to be expensive.
Yeah. and she slipped the disc in her back, and so her hind legs weren't working right, and I couldn't
Let her suffer.
no, so I put her down, which was hard because it was my youngest son Ricky's dog.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she was Ricky's baby, and so that was hard because then I didn't have her.
Right.
And my dad kept telling me, you gotta get a dog, you gotta get a dog. And it's like, no. I said, right now I'm focusing on school. I don't have time for a dog.
Right.
And he goes, no, you gotta get a dog. I said, no, I ain't getting no dog. And
she said that in a very Oklahoma way. No, I ain't getting no dog. I love it. I love it. We should have wore our Sooner stuff, but I wasn't, when are you thinking about that?
No.
And did you see Oklahoma Thunder?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I heard that
they won, took the championship. That was huge for us.
Yep.
Yeah. And we always have conversations on how we miss Brahms and how
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel, yeah. Oh, well, they have them here. We just don't have it in Grand Junction, right? So.
Well, it was supposed to come to Grand Junction.
It was supposed to. I don't know what happened. That's another show. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
We tried to get Brahms here, but
they won't do it.
No.
They will not come here. So.
And we miss our blue and gold sausage.
Yeah, we do. So, is there anything you'd like to encourage whoever's listening or watching?
I would just say, just focus on yourself. Don't give up, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And don't let anybody discourage you from doing anything. You can do anything and become anything that you want, no matter of your past. Just keep moving forward. Life, like Forrest Gump says, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But
How do you feel now?
I feel pretty good. I do.
Feel like you're getting a do-over?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm starting completely over, and I'm doing it on my terms.
Come on now.
Not because somebody told me I had to. I'm doing this on my terms.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for having coffee with me and sharing your story and supporting Joseph Center. And we are always going to be here for you. You know how we say blood in, blood out. That's Joseph Center, right?
Exactly.
You never get rid of us.
Nope.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in with Coffee Chat with Mona. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Miss Tammy. I know you made me cry. My plan was to make you cry, but you made me cry. And I'm so proud of her. And I thank you again for tuning in. And as always, if you'd like to support the Joseph Center and what all we do, helping change individuals' lives, please donate. Everything helps. And you can always go to josephcentergj.com, click that donate button. We thank you for joining us. Click the like button, subscribe so you can see more interviews and more videos. Have a great day.